Today on your Racetracks Motocross Show on AllySports.com, we're getting an in-depth Chad Reed switch from Suzuki in a championship last year to Kawasaki in a possible championship again this year. We'll take you on a hot lap of the track and a very hot day in Texas, and also get to know Tara Geiger, one of the contenders in the women's motocross class. All coming up next on the Racetracks Motocross Show. Welcome to your Racetracks Motocross Show on AllySports.com. It is round 2 of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. We're at the Flagstar Bank Freestone National in Wortham, Texas. Jason Weigandt and Paul Lindsay has come to join us again. And why not? We know why you're tuning in. We know why Paul's here. We know why I'm here, because we have more questions for round 2 than we did for round 1 in Hangtown 2 weeks ago. This series is even more wide open, I think, than it already was.
Both classes, like you said, more questions need to be answered this weekend, and luckily we're going to get them answered.
Yeah.
450 class, 250 class, everything's up in the air right now.
Yeah, it's really going to be interesting. For example, Chad Reed came in the tour, a lot of mystery at Supercross, his worst season ever in the United States indoors. A lot of people wondering, was that Kawasaki not going to work for him? I think he's answered those questions, and we had a chance to talk to Chad Reed about the transition to his new green motorcycle.
Right at Vegas, at Vegas Supercross, I, sat down with Roger, and, we talked, and, we were both, in agreement that I was happy there and enjoying my stay, and, the bikes was good, we just needed to figure out what we could do to continue the relationship, and, we needed help. We needed, at that point, we needed Rockstar to step up because Suzuki was hurting. So then, they continued to try work on that through the summertime, and, we won a title, and but all along it just never seemed like it grew any legs, so then I had to, find a job or call it a day, and I was having fun racing for the first time in a long time, so, so I decided that, and through it all I was working on a monster deal for Australian Supercross. So, here I was racing for, one company, and then, dealing with another one, and they were totally professional. Motocross the Nations pretty much got the okay. Unfortunately, it was just an okay verbally. It was never, a paper contract, which is, in our world, if you don't have a paper contract, you kind of, it's kind of scary. So all the way in through to November, I didn't actually have a contract signed, so it was pretty scary. I was afraid of potentially going to Australia. In worst case scenario, if I get hurt racing down there, it's at the end of the day I don't have a contract signed. And if it's bad enough to hurt yourself, and then they say, all right, we're going to get somebody else. The fact that I didn't have a contract was weighing on my mind a little bit too, so I just went through the motions, and a lot of people read into my results that I was struggling on the bike, but in reality I felt great on the bike. I loved the bike, but I was just not willing to lay it on the line and do whatever, And in reality, it was better for the series and better for TV that I wasn't winning anyway.
That's a little behind the scenes scoop there of how this team deal came together for Chad Reed. Was riding in Australia without a contract. Was riding in Supercross, really had done very little Supercross testing or riding or practice, but now we're seeing the real Chad Reed outdoors.
And I think personally that's what I expected to see from Chad Reed, and it's starting to gel. He's getting going on that Kawasaki, and like you said, lots of questions to be answered this weekend with Ben Townley, Mike Alessi stepping up last weekend at the GP. All of them back in the mix here this weekend. It should be interesting in the 450 class for sure.
Yeah, that class is wide open, and I think it might be even more wide open. We know we will not have Grant Langston here this weekend, but he will come back for High Points, so we'll just keep throwing more names in the mix. And to give you an idea what these riders have in store for them today, at Freestone, Stephen Clark will take us on a GoPro helmet cam hot lap.
I'm Stephen Clark, and we're here at Freestone, and we're going into the first turn. Nice tight turn, so it's going to be good to get the whole shot. Get out front. And first couple of turns, there's going to be a lot of banging the bars, and just want to try and get out there, get a good start, go over the first tabletop nice and easy. A little scrub on the second one. Try and get to that inside, and shoot down this next section. It's a nice little triple jump. And then it's into a switchback section, which is going to be tough, off the start in the first couple of laps where there's a lot of riders going in at the same time. And we're going to come down here into this nice left-hand turn. Should get real deep and rutted. They've tilled up the track a lot. A few little wave sections coming up the hill. And into another deep turn. They've added a lot of sand this year, so there's going to be a lot of deep ruts and breaker bumps. Not a lot of wide open riding going on. And we go again, another sharp turn, some nice deep, berms and ruts over the scrub single into a double, and then into a little step up to kind of a sweeper section. Try and pick up some speed. Nice left-hand turn here, coming up to the tabletop. Nice big jump here, get a lot of air, and then into this real cool single. Slows everybody down. All the riders are going to be next to each other, coming into the wave section before the finish line. It's going to get real chewed up and rough, so you're going to have to pick your line through the sand. And then we've got the finish line step up, and there's a switchback section here. You can either go outside in the flat, or there's 2 extra singles on the inside, the shorter distance. Another scrub jump here around the turn. And the turn before the mechanics area, where you're going to get the pit board every lap, let you know what position you're in. And that's a lap at Freestone.
All right, that's your 450 class, that's your track, that's Chad Reed, but we cannot sign this show off without talking about maybe the 2 most competitive classes out here. First, the 250 class. We already thought there were a lot of contenders, and then we throw some kid named Eli Tomac on top of that pile.
Yeah, the top 4, I hate to say it, went exactly the way I predicted, except for one guy ahead of all 4 of them, Eli Tomac.
Don't feel bad. I don't think anyone predicted that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think Trey Canard said something in that second moto. Christophe Pourcel, everybody expected him to just run away with it. We'll see if Eli's got something for him in this heat, which is something I know he really wants to prove.
Well, the kid definitely works hard. You're from Colorado, he's from Colorado. Talk a little bit about the background that he had before he emerged in the pro scene. Yeah,
everybody knows Eli is a trainer, and I thought it was very interesting at last week's press conference the way he talked about as an amateur how he kept it to a minimum and kept it fun so that he didn't burn out like we've seen so many stars do in this sport. I think his dad, John Tomac, former mountain bike star champion in his own right, has really got his head on straight, and Eli, like I said, I'm sure he's really looking forward to proving something in this heat down in Texas, and it is hot, and this track will be rough.
Yes, so we're going to see if Eli truly is for real. Is he in for the championship, or is he in for just a couple of wins this year? Same question we can ask in the women's class, WMX. Jessica Patterson dominates 1-1, and competition behind her with Ashley Filek and Tara Geiger. So that competition is going to be close in that group too. As
always, I mean, Ashley, we know she trains hard, but Jessica stepped it up this year with Rhino, and she's ready to go on that Star Racing Yamaha, DNA Shred Stick Star Racing Yamaha. So I think the women's class, as usual, just going to be stacked. It's nice to see Jessica back up there.
And Geiger actually got between them in the first moto at Hangtown. We had a chance to talk to Tara about her ride there.
The opening round at Hangtown, it was all right. I mean, I got 3rd overall with a 2nd and a 6th, so even with the 2nd place, I thought there was a lot of room for improvement, and then just a little bad luck in the 6th place. But I think hopefully we've fixed what issues we had at the first round, and this weekend I think it'll be a lot better. I don't mind Texas. I like it. I like this track a lot. I think it flows really good, and it's pretty similar to what I get to ride back in Florida. And I know it's going to be really hot this weekend, but I've been in Florida and it's been hot there, and I know California's still been pretty cool, so hopefully I'll have the advantage over some of the girls.
All right, we got to wrap up this pre-race show from the Flagstar Bank Freestone National in Texas. So let's get some predictions here. In the 450 class, is Mike Alessi going to continue? He got the 2nd moto win the last time race. What do you think is going to happen?
I think it's going to be Chad and Mike. Same thing I called last week, and those two like to prove what they can do in the heat and the rough. And as we talked about, this may be flat ground here in Texas, but don't kid yourself. It is a very, very rough track. Sandy, loamy mix. It does get rough, and those guys are both anxious to prove that they are the men to beat in the 450 class.
And of course, the 250 class even harder to predict when you consider a rookie is on top right now. Any idea how that might shake out?
All those guys work hard. Obviously, Jake Weimer coming off Supercross championship. Trey Canard really wants to prove himself after losing that championship. And then, like we said, the rookie Eli Tomac, has he got it? Where's Barsha? Barsha was very quietly 5th last week. Let's see if he can get back up there in the mix.
Definitely a time for everyone to bounce back, including that guy behind us. Bounce back on to us tomorrow. We'll be on speed with 450 and 250 coverage. I believe it's 9 Eastern and midnight. And, of course, we'll have our wrap-up show on Sunday. So tune in to Paul and Jason on your RacerX Motocross show on AllySports.com. Thanks for watching.